Hello and welcome to Sunday, October 8th. I believe that's today. Yes, it is. Uh, I want to talk about an album that came out about 10 years ago today, and that would be PUP's Self Titled. Now, 2 weeks ago, I talked about the demo tape called Oceans by the band, quote unquote, Topanga, which then became known as PUP. And we did it right here in the PUP corner with all my PUP records. And 10 years ago, they ended up releasing the album called Self Titled, which I happen to have copies of finally. I mean, actually, as opposed to not having copies like the previous what do you call it, Oceans, because that's very hard to find. The thing is, this one's copyrighted 2013, the picture disc, and this one's copyrighted 2014. So they end. Well, yeah, this one's released 2013. This one's released 2014, and they ended up releasing this one on the on it was Royal Mountain Records, which then it got re-released on Side One Dummy, which now holds most, if not all, the rights to that via for this, and then The Dream Is Over. But then the band created their own label called Little Dipper, which I believe this is on Morbid Stuff, and I'm not sure about what do you call this? The Unraveling of Puff the Band. It should be on Little Dipper. I'm pretty sure it should be. Universal Music Canada. Well, this is on their own record, on their own label. So, let's talk about the self-titled, right? Like I said, it did come out 10 years ago, which is wild. But seeing as I only got into the band, when was it? Last year? April 1st last year is when this came out, and when I started like getting into the band. Despite owning Morbid Stuff on release, which oh my gosh. But yeah, as of this point, I've reviewed every PUP album except the live album, Live at the Electric Ballroom in 2019, which is only available for one day, which is unfortunate, but you can find it online. So let's talk briefly about Self-Titled. This album has 3 songs that came off of the original demo tape called Oceans, but we'll get to those songs when we get to those songs. First one up would be Guilt Trip, which is a song about what did I write? I didn't write. Oh my gosh, I didn't write the song's title in the first paragraph. Wait, no, I didn't. Oh my gosh, I need to edit that quickly. Yeah. So immediately you're hit with some aggressive vocals by Babcock lead singer Stefan Babcock, and they're bassier, they're more punched up, like they have more oomph compared to the previous songs on Topanga. Like it feels like he just like went with a deeper octave or register in his voice, and like that really helps the record a lot. You see those in the songs that were previously on Oceans, and after they moved to Self-Titled, they punched up the bass. It feels things are tighter. If the sound has more depth, and which is fine because it's actually produced by somebody who's actually used to producing music as opposed to being produced by the band. But Guilt Trip is a song about being guilt tripped by an ex partner who just really has it out for you. It like you it's very different from anything you heard on Oceans. It's just intense punk music, which is like it's loud in your face. It's PUP telling you that, hey, we're no longer Topanga, we're PUP. We're in your face. We're here. Let us show you what we have. And it's a great introduction. It's honestly one of the weaker tracks on the record comparatively to some of my favorites, but we'll get there when we get there. Great intro, but it's like middle of the road. Next up would be Reservoir, and it's just about being in your mid 20s and not knowing what the hell you want to do. So just hanging out at a reservoir, which is just where some people meet apparently. I believe that was revealed in some kind of interview during a live show or something that I saw on YouTube or whatever. But it's just a loud, angry, cathartic song. That's a trend we'll be seeing on this record. It's a very cathartic release of energy and in music, and that's what I feel punk music embraces and should be all about. It's just a mass cathartic release of emotion, and that's truly what punk music is, because it's the only way this kind of catharsis can be obtained, because it's just screaming, it's just blowing your vocal cords out trying to express this emotion, and it can only be expressed in a loud, violent, and aggressive manner via music. And the beauty of this record and beauty of PUP, why I've gotten so much into them. It's just that fact. Yeah, it's like in Reservoir, the music is kind of like sludgy, kind of muddy, almost verging on metal, and that's kind of why it's just like amazing punk rock anthem. Next up is a song that came off of Oceans, and that would be My Boo, a song about Stephen Babcock's family car, once owned by his parents, then owned by his sister, and then passed down on to him. It's about, a car that's gotten him through life, and, after all that, he puts it through demolition derby, which is hilarious. What a way to send off the car. But, after that, that song is incredible. Again, they punched stuff up. It's probably got some of the best guitars on the track. Vocals are great. The vocalization goes during the ending. It's like, I drive my car through lakes and lagoons, and they go, oh, oh, oh. That's beautiful. The only actually, I think it's like one of the best ones come off of Oceans. We'll talk about Lionheart when we get there, but Never Try kind of slows things down a bit. It's where the band really kind of flexes their range. Babcock is like expressing his vocals, and it's kind of just about leaving your memories and nostalgia, and like kind of just leaving all of that behind, and leaving your past behind you, because it's not because you're growing up. It's weird to talk about that, but that's kind of what the song is about, and it's again one of the weaker songs on the album, but fine nonetheless. The slowest song on this album is Yukon, which is a story about how Babcock and his sister go on wild trips across on wild vacations, which we hear on Morbid Stuff in the song Sibling Rivalry. It's a music video that's all about that, and it's really good. It's kind of akin to Pine Point on Dream Is Over and City on Morbid Stuff, but it's a very long track. It's over 5 minutes. I think it might be the band's longest track, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's about surviving in the Yukon in Canada. They drove their car into the woods and just went off on their own for 3 weeks doing a lot of drugs and just surviving, and it's weird. It's very kind of like atmospheric almost, but it's a very different track on the compared to the rest of the album, and it feels like almost like it's a prog rock epic, and it kind of like throws you for a weird loop. But yeah, Dark Days, strongest track on the record probably. It's one of the band's most popular. I think it might be the most popular off of this album. DVP is their second most popular, and then there's another music video that's even more popular. I forget which one it is. Uh, but if let me go to their Spotify real quick and see what exactly is the band's most popular song off this album. Uh, if I think it probably is Dark Days, because I remember when I was on Spotify last night. Yeah, it is Dark Days. Um, yeah, it's the most popular song off this record, and for good reason. It's just a great song. It's about living through the rough times, ride or die. It's a cathartic punk rock anthem, and it deserves to be there. It gets stuck in your head. It's just so good. Like, I cannot say enough good things about the song. Just everything about it's perfect, from the vocals to the guitars to the drums. Beautiful. Um, we have another alum from Oceans, Lionheart. It's one of the few PUP songs that doesn't really have a meaning, which is why you don't hear it live, why Babcock doesn't really like it. I like it. The only thing that's missing here is like the scream at the beginning of the track. But everything else has been tightened up, add more punchiness, more bass. It's it's a very addicting song with the vocalization during the chorus where he goes ba 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 da ba 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 da 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 da. That's incredible. I'm not so sure if I prefer the Ocean version or the self-titles version, but they're both great in their own rights, and maybe a mix of the two might be ideal for me. But yeah, unfortunately, we'll never hear it live. This was one of my favorite songs by the band at the time, but yeah. Cul-de-sac, one of the weaker songs on the record, IMO. It's about a relationship that has a long past, but you're clinging on, like one person's clinging on to what was while the other person's just gone. And it's got great, like every track has great guitars, drums, and vocals. It's just like this one. It's probably the weakest track on the one of the weakest track on the record. Um, but the final track off the band's demo tape, Back Against the Wall, uh, kind of kicked it up from like a 10 to an 11. It's the most punk song on Oceans, but now this is just, again, another cathartic release of energy where the band, in its face of adversity, has finally made it as a band, and they're doing their best to get out there. It's very self-indulgent, it's loud, it's in your face, it's another beautiful punk anthem. But the final track is Factories, closing out the album. It is a quote-unquote murder ballad, that's Babcock's words, not mine, about how a singer is working hard to provide for his family and, working at a factory. Their partner is cheating on them behind their back during work hours, so they end up plotting their demise and ultimately killing them under a bridge in over some broken glass. Running, they like get caught by the cops, they get hanged, and that's the story. It's what goes around comes around, but it's wild. Great punk rock. There's an instrumental at the end that lasts for like a minute or two, which is beautiful. It's a great song. I think it might be my, like, as I'm doing this review, like became one of my favorites. So it's great. But yeah, I think that's every song on this record. We went through them all, and the closing thoughts I can say is just I'm glad this record came out. It's one of my favorite bands, and it really put them into the mainstream eye of the punk scene. And because of that, we've gotten some amazing albums like The Dream Is Over, Morbid Stuff, and The Unraveling of PUP the Band. And I can't wait to see what the band does next. As of this point, I've reviewed every album but the live album, which will probably never happen. And, that's it for this band. Hopefully, they release some new music soon. 2013, 2016, 2019, 2023. No, 2022. So it's like every 3 years they release an album. So we'll be seeing one in like another year and a half, maybe. Hopefully. They did release an EP over the summer, so that kept me staved off for a little bit. So we'll see what comes of the band. Hopefully, some good things ahead, and I'm glad this record was made. I'm glad, glad it happened, and you know, they become one of my favorite bands because of it. However, that's what I'm gonna call it for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow, and until then, later.